Hi, and welcome to the Keep Myself podcast. My name is Matthew Miniman, and this is episode 133. What can deflector shields teach us about perimeter defense? And with me today, I have an animated gesturing and gesticulation, Jerome Althoff.
I mean, I'm here. I don't know what half those words are, but I am only on my first cup of coffee.
Well, see, that's your primary fault is that you didn't hop yourself up on as much caffeine or stimulants as possible. That's how we maintain security, Jerome. That is how we do this.
That's why I don't work in a sock. But I was going to say, I also should have just stayed up all night. That's in preparation of this podcast. That's what I should have done.
See, your priorities out of whack. Too much Halo, not enough security.
Master
But that's all of IT. Before we get going, Jerome, you have a necessary bit of legalese to get out of the way.
Yes. Anything I say or any opinions, thoughts, noises are my own, entirely my own, and represent nobody else, no organizations, or nobody I work for. Just me.
Skirting responsibility, the core of legalese.
Negative. Defining responsibilities. Skirting it?
I don't know.
I think skirting would be not doing the legalese.
I don't know. I have a negative view of lawyers, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say about a bunch of lawyers at the bottom of the sea, right?
On to the topic.
A good start to the episode.
There we go. Okay, so we're talking about force fields, and in preparation for this podcast, I actually did just a little bit of research, which is rare because I don't typically do any research. Hopefully, everybody knew that going into this.
He just spouts off facts like some LLM. It's crazy.
Yeah, feed me training data. Anyway,
no, nobody does. You just come up with the answers.
That's it. The worst kind of teacher. Anyway, so force fields, deflector shields, they go by a lot of different names. But what are they? They are effectively a Deus Ex Machina plot device to protect ships in space, protect characters from harm, and just prevent ne'er-do-wells from destroying the main character, the protagonist, in one fell swoop. In some instances, it's used as a plot device to encourage the protagonists to do something, to go on another mission, or to get them into a specific place, to deactivate the deflector shield. But in general, deflector shields are just shields that produce an energy shield that magically protects all harm from coming to a specific device. I want to point out that if you think deflector shields are real, I also wish to inform you that angels and ghosts are not real either. Sorry to wreck your world, but I know.
Deep cut there, guy.
Hard truths here. But deflector shields, force fields, they were originally a concept in a book by E. Doc Smith called The Space Hounds of IPC, which it was a book written in 1931. And I don't know if there's a more 1930s sci-fi name than the Space Hounds of IPC. That screams 1930s, and also probably Nazis.
I mean, they might not be in the title, but they're probably in the book somewhere. I do want to cover your ass, though, legalese stuff. Yes, nerds, you will find some other story or a reference or hieroglyph that talks about shields. Matthew's still right. Shut the fuck up.
Maybe. I'm not going to... One of the things they tell you in writing class is never do math in your books, because people can do math better than you.
Yeah.
There are a lot. There
Yeah.
are a lot of autists out there. Now,
There's the
technically,
unpublished story in the 20s that has.
now to be fair, there are three mentions of earlier references to it, but they are just words, not actual plot devices. One is La Alhambra Romantica, Leyenda Morisca. I do not speak Spanish, goddammit, but it's a book published in 1928. And then there was William Hope Hodgson's The Nightland in 1912. And then there is Florence Carpenter Duende's novel Rhonda, which was written in 1887, where the far off sun island is enclosed by a wall in the air, which you could construe as a force field. So you're right. There are potential differences, but really the first time this was used as a plot device, full on as a real device. I'm pedantic. We're IT guys, goddammit. It's in the
Oh
Space
man,
Hounds of IPC by Doc
you
Smith.
hate people being pedantic. I was
I
just
know.
saying, like, someone's gonna call it out. There's gonna be one troll. The one audience member is like, "Oh, actually," and so I was like, "Yeah, sure. No, we're defining it like this way." And then you went to cut your own argument.
Worst history lesson ever.
Also, I'm gonna argue that you did nail the Spanish because it made me giggle how bad you did.
Oh
So good
yes.
job.
Well, you know. Mirrors. Oh wait, that's never mind. Anyway,
Man.
so throughout the history of sci-fi, deflector shields have been a thing, and they've been used in a lot of different ways, and it's grown from the original concept of force field, like just protecting a ship. There are lots of different kinds of force fields, deflector shields, all of that. Video games, TV shows, movies. The concept has spread like wildfire in the entire science fiction fantasy world, and uh, they all work in very different real ways. Some deflector shields, like in Star Trek, it's a persistent shield that can operate based off of how much power you feed it, and you can only feed as much power to your shields as you're willing to redirect away from other critical core services. So your weapons suffer, your weapons output suffers by virtue of you redirecting power to your deflector shields. Some the deflector shields are very limited, and you only get a few shots. I can't think of a specific game that does that other than Crab Champions, but nobody else plays that game other than me. um, there are traveling force fields like in Halo, or his own personal suit shield, which recharges after a period of time, not being shot. And so there's a lot of different shields and a lot of different ways that operate, and it's important to understand this for the topic, because um, network perimeter defense is important to do and is important to understand how it works. And also to know that not only are there different kinds of force fields and different kinds of ways to protect yourself, but also that force fields are fake, right? Like we should just call that elephant out in the room. They're fake. It's
Yeah,
fairies and magic.
literally. They're literally the Emperor's new clothes. Like, no one sees them because they ain't there.
Yeah, and like I remember when I was like 13 and I realized that there's no fucking way that these are real. Now, to be fair, we have made a fair attempt at trying to recreate them in reality. So in 2005, NASA actually proved a concept of charging objects with an electrostatic field that did protect them from radiation. The University of Washington in Seattle uh, created a fine mesh of superconducting wire to basically protect that ship from interstellar radiation. The Rutherford Appleton Laboratory in 2007 um, put a satellite in orbit, and then charged a plasma field around it, which would protect it from radiation. And then in 2014, the University of Lancaster created a plasma deflector shield, which could function. It was a theoretical creation of a deflector shield using plasma. And then in 2016, Rice University discovered that Tesla coils could generate a force field to manipulate matter, meaning that they could effectively push matter away from a ship using Tesla coils. So there are ways that deflector shields could be used, but right now, as of today, they are completely fictitious.
It sounds like, again, they're not completely fictitious after you give out a bunch of evidence that they actually can. The first couple I had heard of, and when I'd thought about deflector shields historically, I think maybe we were in the same boat. Like, how the hell can we generate a field at an unknown distance, unknown space, and maintain it with our technology? And so, like, some of those examples you talked about, like the wire mesh or energizing the actual physical being of the ship, and like that would give us a place to channel the energy and use the energy to then affect it through like effects in what string theory, physics, minor, small nuclear forces, whatever. I have read one abstract of one white paper. Anyway, but like some of the things you just mentioned, like trying to play with Tesla coils and plasma, like that sounds like people are really actually trying to make this real and having some limited success. So, like, full speed ahead. This is awesome. That's actually really cool.
But it kind of proves the point that you aren't always going to be able to protect yourself. Deflector shields are a good example because they are fictitious. There is never anybody who isn't going to get hacked. That is the point. That's kind of the point of deflector shields, in a way that it doesn't really make sense for you to say you're never going to get hacked, because you don't have a deflector shield. You don't have something that's impervious to the armor, to attack, impervious to the armor. I know. Anyway, the whole point in this is that you are, as a entity, you are going to get hacked, and you should come to terms with that. We've said that before, right?
Oh yeah, it's true. Your main point of like deflector shields is the main plot point. Like, nobody here has plot armor that's going to stop them from being hacked.
Yeah.
Unless they have a really good PR department who can work on typewriters while everything else is down, saying, no, nothing to see here. Nobody got hacked. Because they got hacked.
Well, and you're never too small to be hacked. You're never too protected to be hacked. You're just too small or too well funded to warrant a news story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even the United States government has gotten hacked. We know this.
Of times.
Yeah, Department of Justice in 2016 was compromised through the SolarWinds. Yeah, I'm going to get sued by SonicWall now. SolarWinds compromised from SolarWinds Orion because SolarWinds didn't properly protect their update server, and some guy got in, fed a bad update into the system, which then allowed him backdoor access into the backend systems, and the Department of Justice was fully compromised by that. Now, fully compromised anyway, they were compromised, and internal data to the Department of Justice was leaked because of that. So, with that being said, nobody, not even the federal government, is too big to get hacked. Nobody's perfect in this. that is a point that we all need to accept as practitioners, and it's the thing that keeps everybody up at night. It's why I'm hopped up on as many stimulants as I can possibly hopped on.
Legal ones.
I don't care. Illegal, legal, who cares? DA can come bust down my door. I don't give a shit.
It's probably nice at this point. You do look suspicious.
Well, yeah.
Look at that goatee. Yeah. Mostly because I'm jelly.
If you could grow facial hair, you would be an adult too.
Literally, if I could. These
anyway,
jerks
away from this dangerous topic. So, but the other point I wanted to make with network defense is that it's more than just using. It's more than just accepting the fact that you're going to get hacked, because that is the thing. If you accept that you're going to get hacked, you can prepare for it. You can make your layered defense, which is what you need to do. What you can also understand as through deflector shields is that because there are so many different types of deflector shields, that provides a range of capabilities, a range of different effects that you can have and implement in your story, in your plot. And you have the same capacity with your network defense, with your perimeter defense. There are a lot of different ways to defend yourself. There's not just one way to do any of this. And that is both a good and bad thing, because while there are so many different ways to protect yourself, there are also so many different ways to fuck up. So you do have to make sure you're doing this in the right way, right? Like, an example is you can protect yourself on the perimeter by adding a proxy for your inbound traffic so that you're not directly exposing a server to the internet. You're only directly exposing this proxy, and you can really craft down the access rules on that proxy. You could also implement password authentication, multi-factor authentication, different kinds of authentication, certificate authentication, port knocking authentication, HTTP, URL knocking authentication. I don't know. It's a thing that you can have to operate.
Watching your face as you go through all the authentications, you get more and more excited. Like, each layer of authentication made a little bit of his smile get higher and higher and higher until he looked like the Joker.
That's right.
Beautiful.
You know how I got these scars? Authentication.
That's not what you said yesterday.
But yeah, Jerome, in your world, when you're performing authentication and performing network perimeter defense, when you guys approach this, do you approach it just through one particular path, or is it just a variety of solutions that you use?
So it depends is always the answer. And things ebb and flow as different people make different policies, but everyone's always looking for that perfect deflector shield. That's the single solution. That's the cool. We can fund this one thing and we can pat ourselves on the back and it's done. But that doesn't work. The one force field is not the solution because it's not going to work. It's not going to be implemented well, and people are going to figure out ways to change the harmonic frequencies to get through your shields.
What do you mean? What do you mean the Titanic would survive with 2 holes? Maybe we should make 3 holes on each ship. Unsinkable.
Yeah, but ultimately it's like, okay, your protections need to match your requirements and what you can pay for. It really so often a vendor will schmooze somebody, and then 20 seconds later you hear that person preaching about the one solution, the thing that'll save us all, and it changes every week or so because that's the one you played golf last with that vendor or the next vendor. But ultimately it's like, okay, where are we? What are our required ins and outs, and how the fuck are we going to secure them?
Yeah.
And it's a little boutique. like you're pulling from the same paint palette, but what painting you make is going to be different every time, because each organization and each instance is going to be slightly different, which is scary. Like you said, Matthew, like it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many ways to paint this thing, but they all come from the same set of options. It's just how you apply it, and then you're up all night because fuck, did I apply it wrong? Did I combine two primary colors to make a fourth primary color that's a giant gaping hole in my security? Because there's no fourth primary color. Like, like how ultimately, how did what I do, given the best knowledge I had and the tools I had at the time, how was it going to fail? And knowing that it's going to, did I architect well enough to mitigate that failure?
Yeah. Well, and like you said, like you said, there are a lot of companies out there that will tout their product as the only one you need to buy to perform full and complete protection. Microsoft does this. If you pay
Zero
for
trust.
if you pay for their full environment, you have zero trust, and everything works great. Except Microsoft itself has gotten hacked countless amounts of times. Their Defender product has been used to hack machines or hack itself a lot of times, and it's a not insignificant risk putting all of your eggs in one basket by trusting just a single source. As you said, deflector shields are effectively the emperor has no clothes. If you are protected by a single solution, you are effectively naked, because there's nothing else there's no layered defense. And whether or not you can afford a solution, you can afford the quote unquote best solution out there, should be irrelevant, because your protections should be put in such a way that you've got a bubble around you, and the only reason why you would pay for an additional product is to either get their SOC in place so that somebody else is watching your front door, or you are you have a solution that is supported. Like, those are really the only two in this environment where we're dealing with so many free open source solutions. Those are really the only two big reasons to pay for a product. One, you need somebody to protect your environment for you and watch your front door, and two, you need support on the product so that if something goes wrong, you have somebody else there to help you through the solution. Now, there are other reasons to do it, but those are the two primary reasons why you would pay for something. And again, if you're going to pay for Deflector Shield, just make sure you know what you're getting, because if somebody tells you that you're going to get hacked, or that you're not going to get hacked if you buy their product, you can definitely say, well, that's fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah. The thing, the big hazard with the FOSS, so the free open source stuff, is like, what are you doing? You're bouncing. It's okay. Sorry. We should not have video on for these. Anyway, the big problem with free open source is like, who are the contributors? Who's actually adding to the code base? How is it being maintained? How many embedded libraries are there? The whole supply chain thing. And you're like, wow, shit, that's terrifying. I should pay for a vendor. And then you pull back the curtain, and the real concern with using a vendor is who's providing the updates, what are the embedded libraries, and it's supply chain. The big difference, like Matthew said, is, are you doing 100% of the monitoring, staying up all night, having ulcers, or are you paying for other humans to also watch your back with their tools, their AIs, their whatever? But like, are you paying for other people's time to help secure your shit? Or are you doing it all by yourself? Ultimately, that's the only difference. And then then how much of a licensing fee are you going to pay for the second one? You're gonna pay somewhere. You're gonna pay either in your time or in your money to secure your stuff.
You've got to deflect. You've got to redirect power to the deflector shields, bro.
Yeah. You got to shift it to the lateral array because they're coming in from the side.
And you got to change the harmonization of your shields, or else the Borg are gonna get you.
They updated their frequency rate, so I don't think we're going to be able to get through. Unless we need to for episode 17. We still haven't answered how we're going to deal with episode 17.
I am Locutus, a Borg.
The Borg don't have names? This is lazy writing.
Locutus does.
Lazy writing.
Yeah, that is effectively what deflector shields are. And lazy as an IT person if you believe that you're going to get that you're going to be protected by a single solution. Bam! Episode over. That is brought it all into a nice bow. How about that? Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
I'd be professional at this if I could ever have enough attention span to actually do this. Anyway, this is going to devolve further.
Yeah. Something. Raise the shields. Something.
Yeah.
Red alert.
Yeah. Before I end this, the whole thing. Yes. If before you have a red alert, you want to make sure you raise your deflector shields. And that means you want to have your proper defenses in place. You want to make sure you put the solutions and the authentications and all of your different methods of validation, verification, and identity management in place so that you are protected from attack in a way that limits your exposure as much as possible. No one solution is perfect, just like deflector shields don't exist.
There is one perfect network security trick, and cybersecurity specialists hate it when you learn about it.
And that's all we have time for today, guys. I hope you all have a great day.